All right, this is reinforcement video number 5, and you were asked to factor this expression here. So one thing that might make it a little bit easier is if you change out the trig function for, say, a y or another letter. So this could be 2y squared plus 9y minus 5. And that looks more familiar to you. You might have an easier time factoring that. So we're going to multiply the constant by the leading coefficient and get negative 10. So we're looking for factors of negative 10 that will give us 9. So 10 and negative 1 might work. So 2y squared plus 10y minus y minus 5. So we replace this 9y with 10 minus 1. And then we can factor by grouping. So out of these two, we can take a 2y and be left with y plus 5. And out of these two, we can take a negative 1 and be left with y plus 5. So our factorization is 2y minus 1, y plus 5. But remember, y is equal to sine x. So we can plug that back in at the end. If you need to, you might be comfortable factoring with the signs in there, and that's fine too. Okay, so this is how you could handle the one that was given, by multiplying the constant by the leading coefficient, figuring out with a t-table the factors that would work, breaking up the middle term into those two numbers, factoring by grouping, and if you substituted at the final step, replacing. So I have another one here for you to try. So you can take a minute and work on that one. If you need to pause the video, that's totally fine. All right, let's take a look at this. So you might notice right away that you can factor a 2 out of each of these, and that's fine if you do. If you don't notice that, you can still factor without doing that by taking the constant and multiplying it by the leading coefficient. So I'm going to just do that instead, and assuming that most people would not necessarily notice you could take the 2 out. So that would give us a negative 8. Factors of negative 8, that will give us negative 2 or negative 4 and 2. So 2 cosine squared of x minus 4 cosine plus 2 cosine minus 4. So I took this negative 2 cosine and I broke it up as negative 4 plus 2. So looking at the first two terms, I can factor out a 2 cosine, and that would leave me with cosine x minus 2. And I can factor a 2 out of here as well, and that would leave me with cosine x minus 2. So this time I did not do the substitution. You could easily have changed these all to y's, and you might be at the point where it's factored to 2y plus 2, y minus 2, and that's perfectly acceptable. And then as a final step, if you wanted to simplify it and factor it all the way, you might want to take the 2 out of this factor. So that would leave you with this, which if you took the 2 out in the beginning, you would just be factoring something with smaller coefficients and you'd get the exact same answer. So now you can try the reinforcement problem number 5 on the Google form.